We're talking now about stockpiling Bermuda grass for fall and winter feeding needs with Dave Lalman, our extension beef cattle specialist. And Dave, you and the team have done some research on this very pasture, haven't you?
We have. A number of years ago, we'd been encouraged by some of the faculty and field staff have been around and tried it a few times. So we actually conducted some research and got some very encouraging results.
So why would I want to stockpile Bermuda grass? What are as you're weighing the options, why might this be a good idea?
Well, I mean, the general principle is to take the machinery out of the equation, to try to let the cow harvest the forage as much as possible, to cut down on depreciation of equipment, wear and tear on equipment, all the labor costs and so on that goes with mowing, raking, baling, hauling hay to a feeding area and then hauling it back out to the animals. So that's the general principle, and that's basically, if you can skip all that, that makes the economics look pretty more positive.
What did your research tell you out in this pasture?
Okay, well, if the principle is that, and you would have heard Dr. Selk talk about it in the past, but stockpile Bermudagrass idea is to harvest the forage that's out in the pasture hay meadow sometime in the late August, early September time frame, and then fertilize it with somewhere around 50 to 60 pounds of nitrogen, actual nitrogen per acre. That should allow forage regrowth, and the regrowth is good quality. In the research we did out here, the yield of the 50 to 60 pounds was in the neighborhood of 1,500 pounds in the worst years, or low precipitation years, up to almost 4,500 pounds of regrowth per acre. So quite a range, the average being in the 2,000 to 3,000 pound area. Forage quality was high all the way through the month of January. It would range from about 15% crude protein down to around 10% crude protein. So considerable variation, but still high quality forage.
And I'm guessing in order for it to be productive in the way that producers want, you're going to need a decent amount of rain.
That's right, and that's the key. I mean, it is the key. If you're coming into late August and it's extremely dry and has been dry for a long period of time, you would expect the response to be nil or very low, at the low end of that range that I mentioned. On the other hand, if you've had recent 2-3 inches of rain there in late August, and it looks like the forecast is hopefully going to bless you with another few inches of rain over the next few weeks, those are the ideal conditions.
So a year like this year,
a year
in
like
a lot
this
of
year.
places.
Yep, that's right.
Now, once the pasture is kind of set up, like in the way that you mentioned, what do I need to know in terms of actually grazing my cows on it and then supplement needs?
In the research that we did with grazing cattle on stockpile Bermudagrass, we aimed for about 65% harvest efficiency or forage utilization. If you aim to harvest more of the regrowth than that, you're forcing the animals to consume the stem part of the plant, lower quality, and so on. You would expect animal performance to decline. So, not that you can't harvest more, it's just that we felt like that was probably, somewhere in the optimum range. So to do that, it's helpful. It's not a requirement, of course, but it's helpful if you can strip graze it until you get about that, say, 60 to 70% utilization, or rotationally graze it, just some way to manage the amount of forage that's removed and make fairly uniform grazing removal of that resource.
And then in terms of supplements?
Supplementation, our study showed that you don't have to have a real high protein supplement, which of course would be more expensive because the forage itself is fairly high already. Our data showed that around a 20 to 25%, about 2 pounds a day for a cow of a 20 to 25% product was about ideal, and it did boost their performance a little bit if they start grazing sometime in October and they continue grazing through the month of January.
Thank you, Dave. And for an extension fact sheet on stockpiling Bermuda grass, go to our website, sunup.okstate.edu.